Hey guys, Mitchell Gonzales, the Bearded Realtor here. Hey, are you thinking about making a move to the Denver metro area and you're curious as to whether or not the city of Denver is for you or not? Well, you're in luck. Today, I'm going to go over my list of pros and cons of living in the city of Denver. So, let's hang out. All right, you guys, Mitchell Gonzales, the Bearded Realtor here. Hey, if you've seen one of my videos before in the past, thanks for coming back. If you are checking out one of my videos for the very first time, make sure that you click the red subscribe button below, as I do post weekly videos all about living in and moving to the Denver metro area. Along with that, as much as I love making these videos, I am also a licensed real estate broker in Colorado. So if you have any questions about real estate, buying or selling side, you'll see my number, my email come across the bottom. Give me a call, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. I am available 24/7 to answer any questions about real estate. But with that being said, we've got a big sports update. Vance Joseph is back in Denver. Probably not a lot of people's first choice for defensive coordinator, but hopefully this time he does indeed have the time of his life in Denver. Broncos fans, you will get that joke. Non-Broncos fans, probably not. But yeah, hopefully he does a good job for the Broncos. So, but with that being said, let's talk about the city of Denver. And so, you guys, for this video, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Denver itself. This doesn't necessarily pertain to the outside cities, like you've got your, Aurora, Arvada, Westminster, Broomfield, Erie, Boulder, Louisville, Lafayette. This is strictly for Denver. So if you're watching this video and then maybe at the end you decide that, hey, living in Denver itself is not for me, hit me up. There's a lot of other great cities that we can talk about that probably are for you. But for this one, we're going to talk strictly about Denver. And let's be honest, Denver, it's the greatest city in the world. I am biased. I am a native. I have grown up here. But I think it's the best. And so Denver, it's actually one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. I think last year was like number 6 fastest growing. We've grown about 20% just over the last 10 years. In the city of Denver itself, there's right around 750,000 people living there. If you throw in all the Denver metro area, some of the cities that I just mentioned, it's getting pretty close to 3 million. So it's becoming pretty populated pretty quickly. But there's a lot of great reasons why. A lot of people are moving here, so it's definitely an amazing city to live in. So I'm going to go over the pros and cons of living in Denver. So let's hang out. All right, you guys. First, I'm going to go over the list of pros because, pros are just more fun, right? So I'm going to go over the pros of living in the city of Denver. And first of all, let's just talk about the beauty of Denver. So it is an absolutely beautiful city. Depending on where you live, you might have some pretty spectacular mountain views. I think the city itself is definitely a great looking city. You get some great sky shots. You get some unbelievable sunsets. Obviously, the mountains are gorgeous, and you're very close to the mountains from Denver. I don't think some people realize how close they are because I think a lot of people, when they're relocating to Denver, it's the first city they think about, right? Maybe you got a job and it's in Denver itself, or you're just not familiar with Colorado, but you probably have heard of Denver. It's the most well-known city, and it's actually extremely, I think one of the big pluses of it, it's located like right in the center of the Denver metro area. It's not like on the outskirts and everything else is far. It's like literally it's in the middle of all these amazing cities, which makes it a great commuter area. So I think that's really great and everything. Along with that, I'm sure if you've never been to Denver or any tourist type of attractions, we do get 300 days of sunshine a year, which is really cool. It's not really super smoggy or anything. It's always really nice. A lot of times you're getting the great views of the mountains. With the 300 days, we do also get all 4 seasons, and they're like right on a 3-month windows. So if you're from like, maybe California or Florida, or, maybe somewhere that's cold all the time, you get a true, winter, spring, summer, fall. You get to experience all 4 of them. So if you like that variety while you're living, then that's definitely a pro. I guess it could also be a con, because if you hate cold weather, then it can get cold in winter. Right now I'm making this video in February, and it's probably not going to get to double digits today. So, but I think a lot of people, most people that live here, do truly appreciate all 4 seasons. Along with that, we have 4 amazing sports teams. So we actually have more than 4, but I'm going to talk about the main ones. I think our Mammoth actually won the championship last year, but obviously we've got our Avalanche that are defending Stanley Cup champions. So hopefully they can get healthy in the playoffs, win it. Nuggets, if you haven't heard, they are 5 games up in the Western Conference. Jokic, if he does not win his 3rd straight MVP, it will be a total joke. No pun intended on that one. That was accidental. So along with that, we have the Broncos, who have one of the greatest traditions in football. Yes, they've kind of sucked the last 6 years, but they're still pretty good overall. Most of you fan bases would take their dynasties that they have had, and let's be honest, Sean Payton and maybe Vance Joseph will get us turned around, hopefully this year. It's tough to beat a Sunday at the Broncos games. The whole experience of tailgating, going to the game, and how loud the stadium is. If you haven't gone to a Broncos game, definitely recommend it. And then we have the Rockies. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like they're an amazing sports team, because they suck. Monforts don't really care about winning, but if you haven't been to a Rockies game on a summer night, it is pretty amazing experience. I recommend sitting along the first base side, because if you sit like a little higher up, you actually have pretty spectacular mountain views from the seats. So you can get some pretty awesome sunsets, and then it's just really good vibes being at the Broncos games, the Rockies games. It's a lot of fun going to them. So definitely, if you're here during the summertime or spring, definitely worth checking out a Rockies game. So along with that, if you are like at all outdoorsy, obviously you can't go wrong being in Denver. There's like walking trails and biking trails everywhere. So you can get anywhere like on bike. Obviously Denver is like less than a half an hour from the mountains. It's super close to the mountains. So if you're into hiking, there's a lot of 14ers. I did one 14er once, and we'll probably never do that again. I thought I was going to die. Not for the faint of heart, and especially if you're from low sea level, just know that altitude is a real thing. If you think a mile high is high, try being at almost 3 miles high. So it will literally take your breath away physically, but then also once you get to the top of 14er, the views are also breathtaking. Along with that, there's also 12 or so different ski resorts within 2 hours of Denver. So it's a real easy shot to get to them. You've got Breckenridge, Vail, Beaver Creek, Copper, Keystone, Winter Park. There's just so many that are within a short drive. Now, just know that if you were to, say, be going up there on like a Friday afternoon after work, or coming back on a Sunday afternoon, you're probably going to hit some mad traffic. Your 2-hour drive can easily turn into a 4 or 5 hour drive. But with that being said, it's a lot closer to a lot of different ski resorts than most other cities. So along with that, I think our food scene is pretty amazing. I would consider us a little bit of a foodie town. So there's a lot of great chefs that are coming into town, opening a lot of great varieties of restaurants. So there's definitely not a shortage of great food options. If you like indulging in adult beverages, there's a lot of great mixologists, and then also a lot of breweries in the area. So I literally know some people that moved here just because of the amount of different beer breweries in the Denver area. So if that's you, know that there is not a shortage of different beers. So along with that, I think the cost of living, while it is higher in the Denver area compared to the surrounding areas, I think on a nationwide scale, I mean, it's still affordable. So if you're thinking about moving here from like California or New York, just know it's going to be a lot cheaper than some of the cities that a lot of you guys are probably used to, which is great. And that comes from cost of living standpoint and also just a home value standpoint. So along with that, I mean, they are RTD, the transportation district has been improving our transportation. I don't feel like it is on par where it needs to be compared to the growth that we've had, but I'll give it to them. They have done a lot of work over the last 10 years to try and improve it. They've got a great light rail station that can get you from the airport to downtown in like 15, 20 minutes. So that's really great. And the light rail can get you to a lot of the surrounding areas if you have a very specific area that you're trying to get to. Unless if you're right on one of the light rail stations, you'll have to drive to the station. But that part is improving. So I think that's good. And along with that, it's one of the faster growing tech markets in the area. So we've got like, Google, Amazon, those areas that are starting to come into town. That's driving a lot of business into our area, which has also led to a large growth in the millennial population. Over here, I think roughly like 23% of the population in the Denver area is millennials. So I'll probably do a video here shortly on the best places for millennials to live, but just know that it is very millennial friendly. So those are my pros of living in the city of Denver itself. All right, you guys, now I am going to go over some of the cons of living in the city of Denver. And the first one I'm going to go over is just the congestion of living in Denver. So it is very, like I was saying, very populated area and not like a huge, size-wise area. That probably wasn't the best way of saying that, but it's very congested. So with that being said, like if you're looking at downtown Denver, then like 90% of the living situation is going to be like some sort of attached dwelling, whether that's a condo or a townhome. So if you're looking for a single family home, it is very difficult to find single family homes in that area. Now there are like surrounding suburbs of Denver, like you have Wash Park, Highlands, Berkeley, so Stapleton, Denver Tech Center, that are going to have more single family homes. But even with that, if you're wanting like a big yard, then Denver itself is probably not going to be for you. Along with that, parking. Something that you don't really think about, but let's say you're living in Denver, especially if you're in the city, then there's like no parking. So you got to make sure that you buy a home that has some sort of designated spots. If you're on one of the outskirts, there will still be some street parking and everything. It's not going to be as much as a neighborhood. So if you're the type where you like having a lot of parties, entertaining, that's something to consider. Obviously could affect your guests more than you, but parking can be difficult. So I think with the congestion also comes a lot of traffic. So if you hit rush hour, what might be a 20-minute drive could turn into a 1-hour drive pretty quickly. So make sure that you are moving in a spot that works for you from a work standpoint. If you don't like driving an hour, then you got to make sure that you can find a home that has the right routes so it will minimize your drive. So along with that, the city of Denver has so many one-way roads. It drives me crazy. I hate driving downtown because of all the one-way streets. Like I will try to avoid downtown sometimes during rush hour because of all the one-way streets. You pass your turn, it's like you got to go like a mile to get back with all the one-way roads. So if you struggle with that, if you struggle with parallel parking, I know that it can be a bit of an art form. A lot of the parking in downtown is parallel parking. So be ready for the one-way roads and the lack of parking. So along with that, it's a very fast-paced lifestyle living in downtown, just like any other city. So I think that's why it does draw a lot of millennials and everything, because they are still about that faster lifestyle and everything, and they're good with it. But if you like a more laid back, relaxed, personal, you're more private, then one of the surrounding cities might be a better option for you. And I can definitely give good recommendations on which city might be the best option. So with that being said, it's not always the best area for families. So if you have a family and you want like a bigger home and a yard and more privacy and everything, and you don't want your kids running in areas where there's a lot of traffic or anything like that, then it's going to be tough to find a home for you in Denver. Now, with that being said, there are some areas that are good for families. Like I would say, like Wash Park is a great area. There's some amazing homes over there. Depending on where you're living, you might be really close to the park, so the kids can go play at the park pretty easily. It's like the best park in Denver. So that could be a good area, but the homes are going to be very expensive in Wash Park. So that's definitely something to consider. Along with that, I mean, Cherry Creek's got some really good spots for families as well, but also going to be a little bit pricier. So, and then I think another con of living in Denver. So I've had this debate with friends that live in like Florida or California. They're like, there's no beach in Denver. It's like, you got me there. We are landlocked. There is no ocean in Denver, so if you have to be by the water, there are some homes that are by lakes and everything, which is nice, and that have nice little beach areas. Obviously, it's not going to be anything remotely close to the ocean, but I think what we have for the city itself and being close to the mountains and all the other four seasons, in my biased opinion, I think that more than makes up for not having a true, beach ocean. And it also makes vacations more enjoyable, because if you already live on an ocean, like, where are you going to go vacation? The ocean? Then it's just like being at home. So I think, those are some of the cons that I have to living in the city of Denver. So like I said, most of those cons can be replaced, by finding a different city that's surrounding the Denver area, and you can probably still get to Denver pretty easily. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Hopefully this video helped you answer some questions about whether or not living in the city of Denver is for you or not. If you have any other questions about the city of Denver or just real estate in general, give me a call, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. I'd be happy to do whatever I can to assist with any questions you have and assist with your home search if you are looking at buying in the Denver metro area. Along with that, if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure that you click the subscribe button below and the little bell so that you get notifications whenever I post a new video, as I do post weekly content all about living in Denver. So you guys, that's all I got today. Thanks for hanging out with me today. The Bearded Realtor, signing off.